Have you ever been so caught up in your success, so caught up in trying to build your wealth, so caught up in trying to climb the ladder of your dreams, your purposes, your calling, that you missed everything else going on in your relationship, in your love relationship, in your marriage, maybe with your partner if you're not married, and it has become a sore spot. That sore spot is what we call a blind spot. And in this series, I've been talking about blind spots in your relationship life and how to fix those blind spots. And today, I want to talk to you about one of the all important, biggest, most significant blind spots any couple could ever have. We're going to talk about the trust foundation. Because, man, if you miss it, ladies, if you miss that trust is eroding, that trust might be gone, the relationship could be gone for good, but it doesn't have to be. And so I want to get into this whole blind spot about building great trust in your relationship. So, welcome to my program. Welcome to this edition, this video. I want to welcome you. I'm glad you're here. I'm Rod Hairston. I am a marriage coach, relationships expert. I love working with people who are busy succeeding, winning, doing great things, making big moves, but also need some help building your relationship. So let's talk a little bit about this matter. I think the best way for us to get into this is maybe to just ask the question, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust each other? Like, how much do you trust your spouse, your partner? What do you think their number would be? If they asked you how much, if I asked them how much they trust you, and I wonder if you are or they are assuming that the trust level is 8 or 9, which would be amazing, but it really is about a 4 or 5. How do you know when there are cracks in the foundation of this all important aspect of your relationship life? So let's talk about what happens from time to time. Because you want your partner to show up for you. You want them to be there for you. And maybe they haven't been there the way you expected. Maybe they haven't shown up for you emotionally. Maybe they haven't shown up for you in some of those tight spots where you've been. Maybe something happened along the way, like Earth, Wind, and Fire said. Something was gone. Something went wrong. Something happened along the way. Y'all never talked about it. You never came back to it. It just kind of keeps sitting in your spirit like, that didn't feel good. And you may not even know it, but their failure to show up for that big moment in your life, to show up with the money being right, to show up for you emotionally when you've been in a tough situation or you just wanted to convey. Sometimes they haven't shown up just by seeing you. Are y'all tracking with me? Is this making sense to you? Are you getting this? Something can happen in the unseen aspect of your relationship called trust, because like trust can't be, it's not a tangible thing. It's not a physical asset. It's not something that you can put your finger on, but you know when it's there and you know when it's not there. You you kind of know that something is not right, but you're not sure how to put your finger on it. And that's what trust is all about. It is that invisible but necessary, essential, foundational, core part of any healthy, strong, quality relationship. And so when it's missing, you can see it in your relationship. And I'll tell you how in just a second. When it's really strong, you can see it in your relationship. It's what I call the trust quotient. We have emotional intelligence, we have intellectual intelligence, IQ, EQ. I call this TQ. This is the trust quotient, it's the trust intelligence factor. And if you don't know why certain things are happening in your relationship, it could be because trust has taken a hit. So let me talk to you about how you know that trust is high in your marriage or relationship. One, the relationship becomes really easy. It's not that you don't have differences. It's not that you don't disagree. It's not that you don't have difficult conversations. It's just that having those difficult conversations is relatively easy, even on your worst day, because you have so much trust with each other. But when it's hard to have the difficult conversation, when we're defensive with one another, when we make brutal assumptions about one another, when we got these walls up with each other and our alarms go off all the time, and you're constantly in this defensive posture, there's been some trust broken along the way. When you got to question everything, like everything, your trust has taken a hit. And isn't it amazing how you can be succeeding in the marketplace? You can be succeeding in all of your vocational life, all of your work progress. Everybody on the job loves you. You're making great money. You're balling. Then you come to this all important relationship and you're like, I love you, but I don't trust you. Yeah, by the way, you can love somebody and not trust them. So when the trust quotient is low, when it has taken a hit, things become very difficult. When that trust quotient is really high, trust soars and life is really easy. Like you flow, like you have the hard conversations. You don't avoid stuff, you don't avoid each other. You're not waiting for the other shoe to drop. You're not waiting for some unnecessary criticism. You're not afraid that there's somebody else in the background that you don't know about, or where were you yesterday, last night? Who is that on your phone? Like, who wants to live like that? And how many people actually do live like that in these trusted or supposed to be trusted relationships? Yeah, that's a real deal. So let's talk a little bit about how do you fix the crack in the foundation. I remember when we built our first home, Sherry and I, we built our first home. Our kids were, I don't know, they were all like under 7 years old. And we were so excited. We would go to the house every day. We watched the foundation go up. They put these plates up and pour concrete in. And I was all excited. We want to put our hands in the new sidewalk. And then eventually they started doing the framing, and then the electrical went in, and they put my speakers in the ceilings. I could see where they wired for the ceilings. It was so exciting. And eventually, in a few months, we moved into this beautiful home that we were excited to build as a young family. And not long after the house was up and we were in, we started seeing these cracks in the drywall. And we saw these nails popping through the drywall. And I'm like, what are these nails popping out? And what are these cracks in the drywall? And so we called the builder and we said, hey, something's going on. What are these cracks in the drywall? Some of y'all know where this is going. They said, you have settlement cracks. Don't be alarmed. These are settlement cracks. These are not the kinds of cracks that you have to worry about whether your house is going to stand. They simply tell you that the house is settling. So in our relationships, especially if they're new, if we're early in them, I think we have settlement cracks where you're trying to figure each other out. You're trying to see, uh, how this person moves. You're trying to learn and understand. And then you have these like silly arguments, right? Hurry up and have your first silly argument, by the way. So necessary, so important that you learn how to have a disagreement, an argument, and how to repair it. Those are settlement cracks. Foundational cracks are a whole nother thing. Foundational cracks mean that your relationship is at risk. The thing about foundation cracks is that when the foundation has a crack, you don't always see them, because sometimes the crack is in the foundation and in invisible places. And I want to just encourage somebody right now, don't ignore the foundational crack of trust. You don't want to just coast. Too much is at stake. Your emotional well-being, perhaps children. You've got a lot invested. You got so much invested together. Don't waste and don't let the relationship continue to go with these cracks not addressed. So here are some things that you want to do to address these cracks. The first is you got to acknowledge the crack. Acknowledge the crack. Like, where is this crack? Where's the crack? Where is it that you don't trust your partner? What happened? Why don't you trust your partner? Where did this crack come from? How long has it been there? How long has this crack been here? How deep is it? Is this a level 10 crack that you've been just going along with? Or is this like a level 4 crack, but it has the potential to get deeper if we don't deal with it? Has there been infidelity, cheating? Has there been a pattern of not showing up for you? Has the money gotten funny? Has your partner not been there for you on an emotional level? You'd be amazed at how many people have lived with a partner who just doesn't see them. I was talking with a friend in the last few weeks who said, "I'm just tired of being in a relationship where my spouse does not see me. They don't pay any attention to me. They don't think about me." I talked to the other partner that said, "I'm tired of my spouse nitpicking and making me always the problem." And guess what? They were beginning to drift and live two separate lives because they have a foundation issue. They have a crack in the foundation that has been growing over the years, and trust has been eroding. And they've made millions, and they have beautiful properties, and they got the life. They got the life. They're wonderful people, extraordinarily wonderful people, gracious and kind, wonderful people, but they've got a serious crack in their foundation. And so they have to really figure out, where did this come from? How deep is it? You got to put a measure on it. How deep is this crack? How does it feel to you? That's why I asked the question at the beginning of this video, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust your partner? And how much do you think they trust you? So the first thing to do is you have to acknowledge that the crack is there. Somebody do this with me, will you? Just say it with me. We have a crack in our foundation. I haven't talked about it. I haven't brought it up. Or maybe we've talked about it. Maybe you even went to counseling, but you haven't really fixed the crack. And so many couples do that because they don't know how. I mean, it's normal. It's natural to not know how, but I want to encourage you. You can actually fix the crack. So the first thing you got to do is acknowledge that the crack is there. Acknowledge how long it's been there. Acknowledge how deep it really is. Because if you can't get honest about it, if you can't acknowledge it, it is very difficult to address it. One, and I said one or two, you want to be honest about how it got there. I alluded to that a little bit in the first point. So you want to acknowledge that the cracks there, but you got to be honest about, like, how this got here. What happened? What happened? What was that thing that happened that made you go, ugh, ooh, made you pause, made you think, that didn't feel good. I didn't like that. And you guys never talked about it. You never addressed it. Or if you tried to address it, there was not real resolution that came. Right. In one of the blind spots, we talked about learning to unstack conflicts. And so when conflicts stack, trust erodes. And so if you don't learn how to fix conflicts, then the crack begins to get deeper and wider and longer and more dangerous to the foundation of that which you have been intending and hoping and trying to build. So you want to get clear, like, where did this crack come from? Was there infidelity? Was there misuse of money? Did your spouse disrespect you in some way that was really painful? Has your spouse been giving more priority to work and to building success than to you? Have they been making something else number one? Even the children, the job, their parents, friends, hobbies, whatever it is. Like, where did this crack come from? You want to be honest about, when this happens in our relationship, this makes me feel like I can't trust you. Acknowledge it. Be honest about how it got there. And then you need to craft a plan to rebuild the foundation. Yes, you can rebuild the foundation of trust in your relationship. I say to my clients oftentimes, and when we're working together in our dream marriage mastermind groups, we say that trust is lost in buckets and it can be lost quickly, but it takes time to rebuild that trust. It's regained in drips. It's lost in buckets, but it's regained in drips, which means that it takes time, it takes consistency, it takes dependability. So, how do you craft a plan to rebuild trust in your relationship? Let me give you a couple of things that'll be helpful. Um, you want to ask the question, what needs to be done consistently? This is often something you've been asking for, or your spouse has been asking for a long time. They're like, I need you to do this. What needs to be done consistently? And you've probably heard the complaint. It's probably been one of the sources of ongoing, recurring, stacking conflicts because it hasn't been done consistently. I need you to cut work off, for example. That's what my wife used to tell me. I need you to cut work off and be home with me. I need some time with you. I need some dates with you. I need some romance, bro. That's what she said. I need some romance. And she said it enough that I had to finally get it. Like, what is that thing that needs to be done consistently? Because when the thing that your partner needs or that you need is ignored consistently or it is delivered inconsistently, trust takes a hit. So you want to get clear. Ask your spouse. This is a good exercise for you. Ask your partner, what do you need me to do consistently that would help us to have a great foundation of trust in this relationship? It might be one thing, it could be three things, but work on them one thing at a time. You should just, if your partner's next to you, just ask them, what is it? Pause the video and just ask them, what is it? What is that thing? What else? How do you rebuild that trust? Well, let's talk about that in a moment. First, I want to talk to you quickly about a free couples course just for you. One of the biggest blind spots and challenges in our relationship lives is our communication. And I've built a great short course, a mini course to help you fix the biggest communication problem in your relationship. Yep. Yep. And it's free. It's just for you. I want you to click on the link in the description. Go get that mini course. Get that course. If you can improve your communication, and you can do it in days, literally. With this course, I'm going to show you exactly how to address the biggest problem in all of our communication so that you begin to connect, not just hear words. Anybody can say words, repeat words, right? Not just silly stuff like, well, if you just say it like this, if you just say it like that, I want you to go deeper, and I want you to really begin to cultivate and transform how you communicate to each other. When you begin to transform how you communicate to each other and with each other, and you really connect, your relationship is going to go to a whole nother level. And the blind spot of trust will actually begin to disappear. It'll disappear. So, what were we saying here? We were saying that, um, yeah, how do you fix this crack, this broken trust that may be a part of your relationship? It may not be severe, but it may be apparent enough that you know it needs to be addressed. So the first thing we said, you need to find out what needs to be done consistently that makes your spouse, your partner, feel like you really know how to show up for them. The second thing is what needs to stop. Did you hear the? Did you, yeah. What needs to stop? What do you need to really stop doing? Like, don't do that anymore. Has your spouse said, I wish you wouldn't do that? I hate it when you do that. Like, why do you do that to me? Whatever that thing is, if you stop it and you keep stopping it and you don't start it again, right? If you don't say those words that make your spouse feel small, if you don't um, just talk to the other person any kind of way disrespectfully, especially when company is around, right? Would you just not do that? That would be so helpful, is what they're saying. You'd be amazed just not doing that thing would change the game? Would you not skip, you know, our kids' events? That's a big thing, right? Would you not keep putting work first? Would you pay the bills? Would you stop not paying the bills, right? What is it that they need you to stop doing? Like, do the thing that needs to be done and do it consistently. Stop doing the thing they don't like. It hurts them, it pains them, it creates anxiety in them. And you might think it's cool, it's funny, that it's no big deal. But when the other person says, I just need you to not do that, take that seriously. All right. And here's the last thing. You want to ask the question, what would make you feel emotionally safe with me? Yeah, what would make you feel emotionally safe? You'd be amazed at how many of us bring, because we all go through something in life, but how much we bring the emotional memory of those painful experiences into our relationships, into our marriages. And um, we can oftentimes trigger those things in the other person. And sometimes the person they love the most doesn't know how to make them feel safe, right? Doesn't know how to make them feel secure, doesn't know how to make them feel like they are valued and number one and deeply respected, right? You should ask the question, all right, so what would make you feel the most emotionally safe with me? Now, you don't have to be technical, you don't have to be psychological, right? It can really just be, right, I need you to spend time with me. Can we just touch once in a while? Can we make love like, but there be some romance on the way? Yeah, how about that? Can we touch and it not be sexual? Can you let me know that you see me? Can you sit with me and hear me when I'm telling you about, all the stuff that's gone on in my day, right? Can you acknowledge when I'm trying to tell you something that's important to me rather than just trying to fix it and telling me, oh, it'll be all right. You good. It's no big deal. You shouldn't make a big deal of that. Don't tell me how to feel, right? When you tell people how they're supposed to feel, it don't make them feel good and it don't feel safe. So, and you got some things like whether you're the male part of this equation or the female part of this equation, right? I talk to guys all the time and they're like, my wife doesn't listen to me. I can't get a word in edgewise. So I just don't even say anything. I just shut down. It's like I don't feel safe. Or if your spouse says, yeah, that doesn't make any sense, that's ridiculous, that's stupid. Yeah. If you gaslighting, that's a whole nother level, right? No, that didn't really happen. No, I never did that. I would never do that. What? No, that's not what that was. Like, that didn't make a person feel emotionally safe. So you need to find out from your partner what would make them feel emotionally safe. One of my dear friends that I've spent time with, talking with them about their relationship, uh, said I discovered emails where my partner was talking to their friends about our problems. He said, all of my guards have gone up since then. It won't feel safe to you if your partner's talking to all of your friends, their friends, about the problems in your relationship, perhaps. So that may be a safety issue. So here, what we're talking about is how to rebuild the foundation of trust. And I want you to know that you can rebuild the foundation. It's not very difficult, but sometimes people need help with it. And I hope that this can give you some tracks to run on to begin to think about, hey, what really is the TQ in our love life? Like, how much do we trust each other? Do we have our defenses up? Uh, is the trust eroding? Is there a crack in our foundation and we don't know it? How about if you and your partner have a conversation and just ask the question on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you trust me? Hey, I'm Rod Harrison. I'm so glad that we had a chance to hang out together today. I really hope that you'll take some time and work on this. Like, work on this trust thing. It's so important. It'll make your relationship life soar. Hey, and I want to see you win. I want to see you win. I want to see you fly high. So go get to work. Go ask the question, how's our trust? And go through these steps that I shared with you. And hit me up in the comments. Let me know if trust is, at a tough place in your relationship. And yeah, drop a question in there if you like. I would love to support you by answering some questions. And hey, make sure that you like and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that. Love to have you be a part of this journey with me as we seek to really equip and encourage relationships. I'm big on marriage, y'all. I'm big on marriage. I don't know why some people be tripping. They don't want to get married. I understand. I understand. But I'm telling you, it is the most phenomenal relationship I have ever experienced in my life. And I want that for y'all. I want that for you. All right. Hey, I'm glad you were here. Make sure that you get our free mini course. Make sure you grab that. Just click on the link in the description. It'll be yours just for free. I'll see you in the next video.